Alright, alhamdulillah wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man wala wa man tabi'ahum bi ihsan ila yawm al-din. Inshallah, today we'll start the first lesson about the stories of the prophets and messengers. And the first story we'll start with is the story of Adam, the father of the all creations, and his wife, which is called in certain old scriptures as Eve. But the word Eve has never been mentioned in the Holy Quran or the authentic Hadith. It is okay to call her Eve, but it's better to call her the wife of or the spouse of Adam. This is better seat so we can see you better, inshallah. Again, this is discussion. So if you have any questions or comments, please step forward and say your comments. Do not wait until the end. Does not bother me to be interrupted. So if you have any questions, any thoughts, any ideas, please say it right there at the spot. Inshallah, before we start the stories of the prophets, I would like to mention a very, very vital point that there are two words. The first one is called Alam al-Shahada. Alam al-Shahada is the world that is seen, that we witnessed with our senses. Every human being has 5 senses: the eyes, the smell, the touch, the hearing, etc. So anything that we can witness with our senses, it's called Alam al-Shahada, or the world of the seen, the world of the witnessed, something that happens around us, in your room and outside, in the backyard, in the entire universe, the things that we can reach with our naked eyes, or with the telescopes, or with the modern devices, the technology. Things that we can attest 100% that we see, we touch, we feel. This is called the Alam al-Shahada. On the other hand, there is also something called Alam al-Ghaib, the unseen or unforeseen world. The world that we are informed about by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and his authentic and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam through the authentic hadith. This unseen world is the world that happens before us, before our time. So we heard about it from our ancestors, or the future world as well. Anything that will happen in the future, or anything outside that bubble that we live in. Think about Alam al-Shahada. The world of witnessed or the seen is a bubble around us. We live in that bubble. Anything beyond that bubble is the unseen world. And that's the world of the angels, the world of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the other planets, the heavens, anything above and beyond what we can witness with our eyes. So this is the second world, and the world of the unseen. All right. So it is very vital for us to rely on the authentic narrations about the unseen world. The world that we see now, the world that we witness, we can really apply the laws of physics and chemistry and mathematics on it. But the other world is not subject to these laws. Do you follow my logic here? So we can do conclusions, we can do rational thinking about the seen world or the witnessed world that we live in, but we have no idea about anything else that happens in the unseen world. The world of when Adam was created, where is heaven, the hellfire, etc. So we have to rely on these stories 100% on authentic Quran and Hadith only. There is no room for human being rationalization or conclusion when we talk about the world of the unseen world or the world of the prophets and the messengers. So this is very, very important to mention here. So if somebody comes and says, well, I think Adam was created in such and such, we say, no, stop. We cannot really take any thinking, any rationalization. We have to rely 100% on one single source, which is the source that came from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through the Quran and the Hadith. I just wanted to establish this foundation in the beginning to lay down the basis for the stories of the prophets and the messengers. Now, the creation of Adam and his wife, Eve. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the Quran, وَإِذْ قَالَ رَبُّكَ لِلْمَلَائِكَةِ إِنِّي جَاعِلٌ فِي الْأَرْضِ خَلِيفَةً قالوا أتجعل فيها من يفسد فيها ويسفك الدماء ونحن نسبح بحمدك ونقدس لك قال إني أعلم ما لا تعلمون. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned his intention, his plan, that he is going to create a new species, a new creation. It's not the existing creation at that time, which is the angels. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala intended and planned to create a whole new creature, which is a human being. And he disclosed his intention and his plan to the angels in heavens. And we'll talk about this heaven in a moment. He said that I intend to create a vicegerent, which is human being, that will live on earth, that will follow or imply or impose the laws of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Khalifa. Then the angels, they replied back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saying, are you going to make another creature that will live on earth and they will shed the blood and spread corruptions, while we, the angels, are glorifying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala 24/7, and we admire you and worship you? Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala replied back to them, my knowledge is above your knowledge. I know what you do not know. I know what you do not know. Now, let's think about this statement a little bit here. What can we learn from this statement? The first statement is the answer of the angels to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When they say, أَتَجْعَلُ فِيهَا, are you going to make another creature? So the first thing that comes to our mind, that the angels are not dummies. They are really thinkers. They are smart. They comprehend. And they can ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala certain questions. Is that question implies that they are objecting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala of his decision? Or it does imply that they are just need clarification? Which one? Is it objection? Like, how come that you are creating angels? Objecting? I'm sorry, human being? Or it's just for the purpose of clarification for their understanding? Which one? Sisters. The brother Mustafa said clarification. Sister Brenda, Jazia, Michelle. What is the purpose of the question of the angels to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Is it objection that they say, why you don't know what you are doing, for instance, or they are just need clarification? What's your thinking? Sister Michelle, Marlana, Brenda, anybody? Alrighty, so we spoke before about the angels, and we know that they are dedicated servants of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They are 100% worshippers of Allah, and they are not equipped to disobey Allah. So automatically, the purpose of this question, we can automatically understand that it's just for their clarification, for their understanding. So that's the first thing that we learned from this ayah. The second thing is that when they said also, أَتَجْعَلُ فِيهَا مَنْ يُفْسِدُ فِيهَا, are you going to create another creature that will spread the corruptions and shed the blood on earth? Why did they say that? That means they have a prior knowledge before the creation of Adam of something similar that happened on earth. And Ibn Kathir gives it a tafsir here to this ayah. He said that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created jinn, a completely different species, completely different creature of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala before that incident, before Adam, before the human being. So that really taught us that the angels are one species, one creature dedicated for worshiping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There is another creature of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is jinn. And jinn has been created before Adam. There are some narrations that they were created before Adam by 2,000 years. And they lived on earth, but then they started spread corruptions by burning the trees, by demolishing structures, by killing the animals unlawfully. And then they started shedding the blood with a huge fight, something similar to the World War I and II, where all humans started to shed the blood. This happens to angels. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not want them to continue to spread the corruptions and shed the blood. So he commanded the angels to go down to earth to fight the jinn. And they chased them until the jinn left earth, and then they kind of retreated to remote islands on earth. Remote islands on earth. And then they stopped shedding the blood and spreading the corruptions. That's why the angel said in this ayah, يفسد فيها ويسفك الدماء ونحن نسبح بحمدك ونقدس لك. Does this make sense? Alrighty. Now we'll continue. The Prophet ﷺ said the authentic hadith إن الله تعالى خلق آدم من قبضته قبضها من جميع الأرض فجاء بنو آدم على قدر الأرض فجاء منهم الأحمر والأبيض والأسود وبين ذلك السهل والحزن والخبيث والطيب. This hadith is narrated by Al-Tirmidhi. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala collected pieces of the soil from so many areas across the earth. So when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created Adam, part of the composition of Adam is the white race, the red race, the black race, and also the different nature of the human being, from being easygoing, harsh, wicked, and good. So in this hadith, we learn that Adam, the first father of all human being, he included in his composition, in his creation, the multiple natures of human being that will come later from his descendancy. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَلَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ مِنْ سُلَالَةٍ مِنْ طِينٍ. So now we are talking about the steps of how did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created Adam. Allah said in this ayah, and certainly we created man from extract of a clay. And this verse refers to the beginning of the human being. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala collected multiple pieces of the soil on earth. These pieces were kind of dust or small particles. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put it all together and then added water. That's what we can think now. There's a difference between particles and the clay or mud. So the mud is made by adding water to the dry particles of soil. And that's what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made. And then after a little bit, this mud became sticky clay. So from loose particles to mud to sticky clay. Allah said this in the Quran, فَاسْتَقِمْ أَهُمْ أَشَدُّ خَلْقًا مِنْ خَلْقِنَا إِنَّا خَلَقْنَاهُمْ مِنْ طِينٍ لَازِبٍ, meaning sticky clay. So the clay now becomes sticky. The particles are sticking together. They are consistent or coherent. Then the next step, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said also, إذ قال ربك للملائكة إني خالق بشرا من صلصال من حمأ مسنون. So that was the last step, which حمأ مسنون. After Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala shaped Adam in his final shape, which we'll talk about. Adam height was 60 arm length, 60 ذراعا في السماء. Adam length, his height was 60 arm length, and the arm length is exactly 92.5 centimeters. So the Adam height was about 60 meters or 180 feet long. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala formed Adam on our shape now, with the eyes and the nose and the mouth and the ears and the shape of the head, the shoulders, everything which resembles exactly our body right now. But then in this ayah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, من صلصال من حمأ مسنون. حمأ مسنون means hard clay or hardened clay, like the shape of the vase. You know, the vase, it's also made of a clay. After being exposed to heat, then the clay dries up and then it becomes solid. That was the final step of Adam's creation. So first from loose particles, then clean, which is mud after adding water, and then طين لازب, sticky soil or clay, and then after exposure to certain heat, it became like a hard clay. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blows in Adam, فإذا سويته ونفخت فيه من روحي فقعوا له ساجدين. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blow from his soil into this dummy, this hardened clay, which is in the shape of Adam, a shape of a human being. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blow in this body, in this structure from his soul, and then Adam started to become alive. So the soul came to his head first, and then his neck, and his shoulder. And then as the soul continue to spread across his body, Adam actually saw with his eyes, live eyes now, the beautiful fruits. So he started to stand up. He was laying down flat, and then he started to sit down, seeking or desiring the fruits of paradise. And then the soul started to spread to his waist, his lower body, his legs, etc. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in this ayah, after I created Adam, فَقَعُوا لَهُ سَاجِدِينَ, bow down to Adam, prostrate to him. So whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is speaking to? What is this command for? فَقَعُوا لَهُ سَاجِدِينَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, bow down to Adam once he is completely created, when he becomes alive. So who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is addressing now? The angels. The angels, they were present at the time of the creation of Adam. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this ayah and also in Surah Al-Baqarah said or commanded the angels to bow down, to make prostration to Adam. Any questions so far? Are you all with me so far? You follow exactly what's going on. So after that, all the angels, this ayah really summarized the whole story, and we read it in English right here. Sorry, the font is small, but the gist of the story here is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanded the angels to make sujood to Adam. Is that sujood meaning that Allah wanted the angels to worship Adam by making sujood to him? So what is the purpose of Allah asking the angels to make sujood to Adam? Sisters on Zoom, please try to participate. The purpose of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asking the angels to bow down, to make sujood to Adam, is to admire him, to admire the new creation of Allah. It's never to be worshipping Adam. Absolutely not. Hasha lillah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will never ask any creation to worship anybody else except him, except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the purpose of the purpose of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asking the angels to make sujood to Adam is to admire Adam, to admire that new creation, the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It just happened that at this time, Iblis, which is a jinn, Iblis or shaitan is not from the angels. Iblis is made from hellfire. Made from fire. Angels are created from light. He just happened to be there, but he did not follow the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Just he happened to be there. He listened to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He did not bow down. He did not make sujood to Adam. So all of the angels, they made sujood to Adam, except one, which is the shaitan, Iblis, or Satan. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asked the shaitan, what prevented you from bowing down? What prevented you from following my command, my orders? Then the shaitan replied back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, says, أَنَا خَيْرٌ مِّنْهُ, I am better than Adam. خَلَقْتَنِي مِن نَارٍ وَخَلَقْتَهُ مِن طِينٍ. You created me from fire and you created Adam from mud or clay or soil. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَخْرُجْ مِنْهَا فَإِنَّكَ رَجِيمٌ. At this point, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to the shaitan, get out of the paradise and you are cursed until the day of judgment. you are out of my mercy. You will never touch paradise anymore. You will get out, and your final destination will be in the hellfire. So this really, there are certain lessons that we should learn from this story, that Shaitan is the first one who created an ugly and filthy value, which is the racism, which is some human being practice nowadays. He says, I'm better than him because I'm created from fire, and he is created from clay or mud or soil. Nowadays, sometimes we hear this same thing happens from human being too. I'm white better than black. I'm black better than yellow. I'm yellow better than white, etc. This racism, which is the filthy, the Prophet ﷺ said, دعوها فإنها منتنة. The Prophet ﷺ said in the hadith, leave these races on the side, completely out of your life, because it stinks. It's a filthy value. Who is the first one to create this racism? It's the Shaitan. He said, I'm better than him. You created me from fire, and you created him from soil. That's a very stupid statement. Think about this. Why did the Shaitan think that the fire is better than soil? What really made him think that way? This, it's a stupid statement. As a matter of fact, if you think rationally, the fire burns things. It destructs. It's a tool of destructions, while soil is a tool of growth. What comes out of soil? Plants. You feed the soil water, the soil gives you back the plants, and the plant feed the animals and humans. So the source actually is a very rich giving material. In reality, by our logical thinking, the soil is a source of production, while the fire is the source of destruction. So who said that the fire is better than soil? Who said that? It's the Shaitan, and he was absolutely wrong. Do you follow my logic here? Let's continue the story. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَلَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ مِنْ صَلْصَالٍ مِنْ حَمَإٍ مَسْنُونٍ وَالْجَانَ خَلَقْنَاهُ مِنْ قَبْلِ مِنْ نَارِ السَّمُومِ. Allah said in this ayah that indeed, let's see if I have the translation. Surah, I will put the translation for this ayah. But basically, this ayah says exactly what we said, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created Adam from صَلْصَالٍ مِنْ حَمَإٍ مَسْنُونٍ, from the hardened clay after it got exposed to certain heat. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created the jinn min qabl, meaning before Adam. And that really exactly matches the explanation that we said at the time of Adam creation. The angel says, are you going to create another creature that is going to spread corruptions and shed the blood? So their knowledge is based on this exactly ayah that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created the jinn before Adam, or before the human being.
I had a question about
Yes.
when you said the part about Adam and Shaitan, Allah tells them they're enemies to one another. It was from the ayah. Let me see.
It's from the hadith. You are talking about the different natures of human beings. Some of them are kind, some of them are not.
No, when there's something, I don't know if it was an ayah or a hadith that was written there on the screen. It's saying that when Allah is telling the Shaitan to get down from here, there was something in there that said that you're enemies to one another.
Correct. Yes. Right. So this is this ayah here, Surah Al-Baqarah. This ayah, this here. Right. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said which was really the next step. The next step. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created Adam, asked the angels to make sujood. Shaitan refused. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala cursed the Shaitan. The Shaitan pledged at this point to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that he's going to be the enemy and whisper to Adam, to all the sons and the children of Adam to disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so they will be with him in the hellfire. And then after that, which will be the next step, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asked Adam and his wife to eat anything from that paradise that they are in, except one single tree. That will come later in a moment, but let me give you a heads up now. So Adam followed the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and he lived a beautiful life in paradise with his wife. But then the shaitan came back and then started to tempt them and whisper in their ears that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forbidden you from eating from this specific tree, because he knows that if you eat from that tree, you will become immortal, you will become eternal, you will live eternal life like the angels. So after a lot of whispering and pressure from the shaitan to Adam and his wife, they both slept. They both disobeyed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they ate from that forbidden tree. They ate from the forbidden tree. After they ate from the forbidden tree, their private parts, which was hidden at that time, it started to appear. And then they started pulling up the leaves of the trees from the paradise to cover them, because they felt ashamed. They felt ashamed to have their private parts exposed. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that to Adam, that you and your wife equally failed the test, and you are going to go down to live on earth. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent Adam and his wife to earth. بعضكم لبعض عدو. That's this ayah here, that automatically Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows from the nature of the human being that they will not live peaceful life with each other. With his knowledge, he knows that there will be fighting between the children of Adam. There will be fights. And that's exactly what we see nowadays, which is the wars between the countries, and the wars between the tribes, and the wars between the families. It is part of the nature of the human being to really fight. It's part of their nature, innate nature. But does this really comply with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what he wanted for us? The answer is no. The answer is no. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala intended for us to live as human beings in a peaceful life on this earth until we die. So the nature, or the built-in features, or the innate nature of aggressiveness among human beings, it's built in. It's like many other wild natures that we have. Every male has the temptation for females, and every female has temptations for males. But does this mean that we have really to follow our temptations and desires? No. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put these desires in us so we can really defy it, we can fight it, we can control it with our minds based on the values of Islam. So it's a test for us. Every human being loves money. Isn't that the case? If you put like a gold mine in front of any human being, they will jump on it. If you put like a bunch of jewelries, every human will jump on these jewelries. Isn't that the case? It's built-in nature for us. So if we leave ourselves without being controlled by our mind and our Islamic values, then every human being will be fighting against each other to grab this power, to grab this money, to grab these beautiful things. But according to our Islamic teachings, we should really be controlling these desires. Questions? Mr. Brenda, did I answer your question?
Yes. Thank you.
Welcome. Any other question? All right, let's continue the story. See the time, so we don't really exceed limit. I know that we start a little bit late, so hopefully we'll end by in probably 1 hour or so. I'm sorry, 30 minutes. So this ayah, I'm sorry I didn't put the English translation, but that's exactly what we spoke about a minute ago. After Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala cursed the shaitan. What does cursing mean? What does it mean? Al-la'n. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala la'an al-shaitan in Arabic. That means Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala expelled the shaitan from his mercy. And when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala expels anybody or get anybody out of his mercy, that pressure being a human being or the shaitan, will have no chance to come back to the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decision is final. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not retreat his decision. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows everything. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sees the future, and his decisions and the plans are final and definitive. No change in them. So in this ayah, فَدَلَّهُمَا بِغَرُورٍ, in this ayah, I'm sorry for the missing the English translation, but inshallah I will send you like a detailed PDF file that has the English translation and the Arabic resources as well. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that the shaitan tempted them. After a lot of pressure, whispering in their ears, they ended up eating from the tree. And once they did that, their private parts were exposed. They started picking up the leaves from the trees and then cover them. But then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that now you are predestined to go to the earth, go down from the paradise and live your normal life and have your final life and die there. Despite the fact that Adam disobeyed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah expressed this in one of the ayahs of the Quran. He says, وَلَمْ نَجِدْ لَهُ عَزْمًا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said about Adam that he has a weak will. He does not have a strong will. So out of all the messages of the prophets of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah selected 5 of them. Please take a note of this. Allah selected 5 of them. They are considered in Arabic أُولِي الْعَزْمِ مِنَ الرُّسُلِ. They are the prophets with the strong will. Adam is not one of them. So who are these 5 people, 5 prophets of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that Allah attributed them as these messengers with the strong will? It was Nuh, Ibrahim, Moses, Jesus, and Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. These 5 messengers, Allah attributed them to be with the strong will. Despite the fact Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said about Adam وَلَمْ نَجِدْ لَهُ عَزْمًا, that he's not one of the strong will prophets or messengers, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in this ayah, إِنَّ اللَّهَ اصْطَفَى آدَمَ وَنُوحًا وَآلَ إِبْرَاهِيمَ وآل عِمْرَانَ عَلَى الْعَالَمِينَ ذُرِّيَّةً بَعْضُهَا مِنْ بَعْضٍ وَاللَّهُ سَمِيعٌ عَلِيمٌ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala selected the most beloved human being to him, and Adam is one of them. The most beloved people to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Adam, Nuh, the people of Ibrahim, the family of Ibrahim, and the family of Imran, including Maryam, alayhi salam, and Jesus, her son, ala al-alamin. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala selected these people, Adam, Nuh, family of Ibrahim, and the family of Imran, out of all human beings. These are the most beloved ones to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Sorry, before we come to the question and answer, the next part of the story is the creation of Eve, or the wife of Adam.
Okay, can I ask quickly?
Yes,
You're
please.
saying there are 5 prophets with strong wills?
Correct. 5 prophets. One more time, they are Nuh, chronological order. Noah, Ibrahim or Abraham, Moses or Musa, Jesus or Isa, and Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. These are the 5 messengers and prophets with a strong will.
Okay.
Any other question?
No.
Alrighty. So Adam lived in paradise. Let's rewind a little bit. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created Adam as we spoke, and he lived a blessed and beautiful life, full of bounties in paradise. And then one night, or actually one morning, Adam woke up and then he found his wife next to him. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created Eve, or his wife, from the rib of Adam, one part of his body. Eve was created from his body. That's one narration. However, there are certain other opinions among the scholars said that Allah created Eve, or the wife of Adam, the same way he created Adam. But the first one is more authentic, that Eve, but the wife of Adam, is created from his rib, from part of his body. So Adam, after living a lonely life for a long time, we don't know how long, no narrations about this, and again, we cannot predict or estimate or rationalize Somebody say, oh, I think Adam lived 1,000 years before the creation of his wife. Nobody can say that. There's no conclusion here. We 100% rely on the authentic narrations of the Quran and the authentic hadith. So back to the story, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created Eve, the wife of Adam, from his left rib. And now Adam does not live a lonely life anymore. He has a partner. So they shared everything together. They lived a very happy life. And then the shaitan came back and then he whispered to them, as we said, to eat from the forbidden tree until they were expelled from paradise and they went to earth. After they went to earth, they have normal marital relationship and they started to have children. It is narrated in one of the hadith that Eve used to have a twin for every birth. 2 children, a male and female, for every birth. So she gets pregnant and then she delivers 2 children, 1 male and 1 female, 1 male and 1 female. So at that time, Adam said, or put the laws that he received from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Remember, Adam is a prophet and a messenger. Make no mistake about this. I'm sorry, let me rewind a little bit. There is one very important incident that I forgot to mention. After Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created Adam and Adam became alive, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala taught Adam the names of everything. وَعَلَّمَ آدَمَ الْأَسْمَاءَ كُلَّهَا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala taught Adam the names of everything. What does it mean? The names of the soil, the names of the plants, the names of the animals, the names of the mountains, the name of the water, the name of the fire, the name of everything that we see nowadays. Did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala teach Adam the names of the modern things, the computer, smartphones, etc.? The answer is no, because that wouldn't make any sense to Adam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala taught Adam what he can witness, what he can see at that time. So he does not become oblivious. He does not become like an ignorant person living among things that he does not know the names of. Then after that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, one more thing. So if you think about وَعَلَّمَ آدَمَ الْأَسْمَاءَ كُلَّهَا, the teaching of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to Adam, that means he gave them the names, the words, the word itself, and what does it mean. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said for him, this is a tree. The word for it is a tree. The word tree maps to that creature that has a stem, it has leaves, has fruits, etc. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala taught him the mapping between the actual words, the names, and what do they mean, the meaning of the names. Are you all with me? Does this make sense, sisters? The names and what they mean. Okay. So some people says, why did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not teach Adam the verbs or the nouns? No, the noun is the ism or the names. It's a very simple term that names are really the foundation of any language. If somebody knows the names, then they can really construct the sentence nice and easy. Even the word, the verb is actually a noun. The word verb is a noun by itself. So for Adam to learn all of the nouns or the names of things, that enables Adam to be very educated and be able to handle things around him. ثم عرضهم على الملائكة. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala presented these objects like the tree, the rivers, the air, the fruits to the angels. And then angels, give me the names of these things, these objects. Give me the name of the tree. Of course, he didn't say the tree. Give me the name of this object. So the angel said, sorry, we don't know these names. You never taught us these names. We have no way to learn them unless you taught us. So that was a test from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to show that a human being, Adam at that time, the only human being at that time, Adam, can have even a higher rank than the angels. If the human being obeys Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as he meant for him to obey his creator, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وعلم آدم الأسماء كلها ثم عرضهم على الملائكة فقال أنبئوني بأسماء هؤلاء قالوا لا علم لنا إلا ما قالوا سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. Indeed, we have no knowledge except what you taught us from your knowledge, and you are the most knowledgeable of everything around us. قال يا آدم أنبئهم بأسمائهم. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Adam, step forward and tell the angels the names of these things that I presented to them, and they did not know their names. فلما أنبأهم بأسمائهم, then Adam started telling them, this is a tree, this is the river, this is the water, this is fire, this is stump, this is fruit, this is flower, etc. فلما أنبأهم بأسمائهم قال ألم أقل لكم إني أعلم ما تبدون وما كنتم تكتمون. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to the angels, now you see my wisdom of creating this new creature, which is the human being, that he is capable of really absorbing and admiring the names of the things that I taught him. Are you all with me? Great. Then let's fast forward. Just one comment here. So have you ever seen the movie called The 1 Million Year BC or something like that? There's a very famous movie, I think it's made in the 70s or the 80s, and they show the human being really lived on Earth a very primitive life, somehow like a little bit advanced than the monkeys. That completely negates the fact that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala taught Adam the names. That means Adam has the mind and the brain and the intelligence to learn these names. So that means Adam, when he came to Earth, who is absolutely, completely civilized creature. So this concept of the caveman or the very primitive early stage of human being that they lived on Earth like animals, they used to fight with each other, they used to grab the pieces of meat and then they used to eat it like monkeys. That has never happened whatsoever. This is absolutely wrong assumptions. We follow what's in the Quran and what's in the Hadith. When Adam came to Earth, he knew the names of everything. He was a civilized creature, and Eve, his wife, as well. It's based on this Quran. So if you ever find in any literature that Adam lived, or the first creature was like lived a primitive, basic life, absolutely not. Adam came as a civilized human being on Earth, first time. Now let's fast forward to the point that I stopped at. Eve became pregnant, as I said, in twins, male and female. So she would deliver a male and female. At that time, Adam made or taught his children a law that the boy and the girl that came from the same birth, the twins, cannot marry each other, but they can marry the boy can marry a girl that's born before him or after him, not at the same time, not the same twin, which is exactly what happened. So the children of Adam started to grow. When they reached the level of puberty, then every male picked up a female, and then they got married legally, witnessed by Adam, and then they started to have children. After they started having the children, the offspring of Adam started to grow. So there are some narrations that the children of or Eve has given 40 birth times 2, that's 80. There's some narrations that Eve has given a birth to 80 human beings, and they are equally divided, so 40 male and 40 female. Now we're talking about the story of Qabil and Habil, the children of Adam. Abel and what's the English name of Qabil? Huh? Cain and Abel. Yes, Cain and Abel. Thank you, sister. Cain and Abel. So they were children of Adam. They both male. They married their sisters, but not the twin sister. Different birth. And then Qabil, which is Cain, have some jealousy against his brother Abel or Habil, some narrations that he said that your wife is more beautiful than mine, and I wanted to have your wife. Adam said, no, you cannot have that because his wife is your twin, and you're not allowed to marry your twin. So the story continues, and then Qabil or Cain, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at that time have some sort of worshipping. The form of worshipping is sacrifice for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's similar to what we do nowadays in Eid al-Adha. What do we do now in Eid al-Adha? The feast of sacrifice. We basically, every family go and then buy a goat or a camel or a lamb, and then we slaughter the lamb, and then we give 1/3 of the lamb to the poor people, 1/3 of the meat of the lamb to the family and friends, and then we keep 1/3 of the family, 1/3 of the lamb to our household so we can really cook it and enjoy the meat and celebrate the Eid. That is the form of sacrifice that is taught to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam to teach us. So that's the form of sacrifice that we do nowadays. At the time of Adam, the form of sacrifice is basically they do the same thing. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when he asks the children of Adam to provide a sacrifice, then they would go and find an animal, they will slaughter the animal, and then they will leave it in the open area. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if he accepts this sacrifice, he will send some fire that will burn the body of the animal. And that means Allah accepted that sacrifice from the individual. Are you all with me so far? Good. So the Quran said that Cain and Abel, they both were asked to provide sacrifice in the same form that I mentioned to you right now. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did accept the sacrifice of Habil or Abel, but did not accept the sacrifice from Cain. He did not accept the sacrifice from Cain. For whatever reason, there are some narrations that Cain really picked up the cheapest animal, and he did not really spend time to select a good one that he can sacrifice for the sake of Allah. For whatever reason, we don't really care, but we care about the fact that فَتَقَبَّلْ مِنْ أَحَدُهُمَا وَلَمْ يَتَقَبَّلْ مِنَ الْآخَرِ. Allah said in the Quran that he accepted the sacrifice from one of them, and he did not accept the sacrifice from the other one. So which one did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept the sacrifice from? Which one? The good son of Adam. What's his name? Huh? Habil. Habil. And which one, the bad one that Allah did not accept the sacrifice from? What's his name? Qabil or Cain. Now, the bad one, Qabil, was full of vengeance, full of hatred, grudge against his brother. And then he went to his brother, he said, I envy you, I hate you. You provide sacrifice for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He accepted from you, but he did not accept it from me. Because of that, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill you. So Habil said, if you take that initiative and they try to kill me, I'm not going to kill you. Because I'm really bound by the values of what my father Adam taught me. I will never kill you. So Cain becomes even angry. And then he killed his brother, Habil. So Qabil killed Habil. That was the first kill of this heinous crime in the history of mankind. So all of a sudden, Habil found the body of his brother, Qabil, laid down with no soul, his dead body, not moving. He was shocked. What did I do? But this is a huge crime. I have not seen that before. He was really shocked, and he regretted that so severely, to the point that he became speechless. But then the next step is, what do I do with this body? Nobody taught me how to handle the dead bodies before. Adam didn't teach me. Nobody taught me. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent a bird, ghurab. Ghurab means a crow. That black bird that we know nowadays. To teach Qabil how to bury the body of his brother, Habil. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent the crow. There was another dead crow next to him. The crow started to dig the ground until he made enough hole in the ground, and then he put the body of the dead crow in that ground hole, and then he started to cover it with the soil. So that was the first lesson of how should we bury our bodies. And this is really the sunnah or the religion or the rituals that we should follow as Muslims as well. This particular ritual has never been negated or altered or replaced. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala taught the first kill or the first survivor of a kill, which is Qabil, how to bury the dead body. So all of the other forms of handling the dead bodies that practice nowadays, like burning the body, is not Islamic. What is the to preserve the body in a glass box, as most of the Catholics do, is also prohibited in Islam. The only way to really handle the body or to bury the body is to make a dug in the ground and put the body in and then cover it with soil. And this is inconsistent with the ayah, منها خلقناكم. Sorry, I spaced the exact text of the ayah, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that He created us from soil and we should go back to soil when we die. That's the meaning of the ayah. So any form of, any creative, innovative form of burying the dead body in Islam is not acceptable except one. Make a dug and put the body in and cover it with soil. Any questions so far? Any questions so far? Alrighty. Now, Qabil, and I'm ending with this. Qabil, when he killed his brother, he felt like he is not liked among his community, among the people. At that time, the children of Adam, the 80, as I mentioned, they multiplied. So the community was really large, maybe in 1,000 or so. Adam lived to the age of, there are some two narrations, either the age of 950 years or the age of 1,000. So there's a minor difference between them, but he lived for a very long time. Did the human being really live that long at the time of Adam? The answer is yes. And the Prophet ﷺ said in the hadith, لا زال الخلق يتناقص حتى الساعة. That the Prophet ﷺ said that creation will continue to diminish, the creation meaning the human being, will continue to diminish in both size and the lifespan until the day of judgment. As I mentioned, what is the height of Adam when he was created in heavens? What was the height of Adam? Anybody? What's the height of Adam? The height of Adam when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created him was about 60 meters. It's actually 60 dhira, 60 arm. So it's slightly less than 60 meters. As we mentioned, the arm length is about 92.5 in average, according to the scholars. So it's slightly less than 60 meters. So imagine Adam was being a giant. And then the size of human beings started to diminish until nowadays we average woman, I think it's 5'4", and average man is 5'8".
How many years did Adam live?
Yes, Sister Brenda?
Yes. How many years did Adam live?
Between 950 to 1,000 years.
Okay.
When Adam reached the end of his life, he he wanted to grant the leadership to somebody after him. So he knows that he's going to die, but he did not want to leave his children to be like loose with no leadership. So he brought one of his children, which was the most beloved to Adam. And he was actually a prophet. He started receiving the revelation before the death of Adam. What is his name? His name is Sheath. In English is Seth, S-E-T-H. So Sheath or Seth is the directed child or directed son of Adam. He brought Sheath and told him, Sheath, you are the most righteous one among my children. I would like you to take the leadership after I die. I would like you to be the leader of the human being after my death. Sheath accepted this responsibility, and he became the leader of the children of Adam after his death. So at that time, Qabil, again, he felt that he committed a heinous crime, and he felt that like the entire community hated him. So he kind of spent off. He took his immediate family, and then they lived in the valley. So the children of Adam, they lived in the mountains in an area around Mecca. Nowadays, what is known as Mecca in the Arabic Peninsula. And Qabil took his immediate family and they migrated from the mountains. They went down to the valley. Was that really the valley of Mecca? It could be, or it could be another valley in the Arabic Peninsula. We don't know exactly where it is. So they lived in the valleys while they left the mass or the majority of the population of the human being in the mountains. Who are the leaders of the people of the mountains now? Who is the leader of the people of the mountains? What's his name? Sheath or Seth, the immediate son of Adam. So the human being really split into two groups. The group that lived in the mountain under the leadership of the Prophet of Allah, Sheath or Seth, and the other group who migrated to the valleys under the leadership of Cain or Qabil. So two groups now. The group under the leadership of Sheath, they were righteous people because Sheath was always guiding them all the time, teaching them the prayers, teaching them the monotheism, teaching them to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, refrain from the bad values and bad practice all the time. So they were really very good people. While the people of Qabil, Qabil, of course, he is the first one to commit murder or killing in the history of mankind. They were loose. They did not really abide much by the laws of Adam or the laws of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or the religion. So, and also it is narrated that their women was more beautiful than the women of the mountains. The women of the people of the valleys, the children, or actually the people under the leadership of Qabil, they were more beautiful than the women in the mountain. And also it is narrated that the women of the valley, or the people of the valley, they started to really interact more between men and women. And they started to practice fornication and adultery. So they did not really abide by high ethics. And it is narrated one day that they also started considering worshiping idols. Some of them presented some idols to them. They say, hey, take this as your God. Forget about this God that we have never seen, that Adam and his children kept telling us about. Here is a God. And they presented some statues to them. So the worshiping of statues started from that time on a smaller scale, not everybody, but a smaller scale. So they committed all types of sins, while the people who lived in the mountains under the leadership and the guidance of Sheath, they continued to practice Islam and monotheism with good values. One day, and I'm concluding with this, one day, one of the men of the mountains, by the way, the men of the mountains also was known to be a little bit more handsome than the men of the valley. So the women of the valley are prettier, the men of the mountains are more handsome. Some narrations mention that. One of the men from the mountain decided to take exploratory to explore the areas, and he started traveling until he got down to the valley, and then he saw the beautiful women who are not properly dressed. They would dress the provocative clothes, which was very tempting to him and of course to the other men of the valley. And then he started to really interact with them until he fell into the big sin of fornication. After that, he left the people of the valley, and then he went back to the people of the mountains and told them, hey, I found really a great deal of pleasure down there in the valley. Their women are so beautiful and provocative, etc. And then he started really recruiting some men from the mountain and took them to the valley. And then al-fahsha, which is one of the greatest sins, which is fornication and adultery, started to spread. Sheath at that time started to act harder and try to stop his men from going down to the valley to prevent this great fall down. And what happened is what we're going, inshallah, to address in the next halaqah. And that also includes the prophecy of Prophet Idris, which is also another son of Adam. And that is the end of our halaqah today, inshallah. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفروه فإنه ذنب كمن لا ذنب له.